Czy jesteście gotowi na kolejną porcję języka angielskiego? Wraz z panem Maciejem Doksą te zajęcia na pewno przebiegną nam mile. Witamy, panie profesorze. Co jest tematem tej lekcji?
Dzień dobry. Na tej lekcji porozmawiamy sobie o problemach na wakacjach. Good afternoon. So today in this class we are going to talk about problems on holiday, problems that you can have while on holiday. In our previous lesson we talked about holiday, and in this lesson we'll talk about problems. I hope you don't have any problems during your holidays, but well, things can happen. All right, so there are different categories of problems, different types of problems. First of all, I'd like to talk about transport problems, so problems connected with moving around, with going on holiday, so generally transport problems. So what can happen? Well, if you're traveling by car, your car can break down, so you can have a breakdown, the car can break down, czyli samochód może się zepsuć. The most common type of breakdown, I think, is a flat tire or a puncture. Well, these two expressions, as you can see, one is from American English, the other is from British English. They actually mean the same thing. Flat tire, czyli płaska opona, puncture, czyli przebicie. Obydwa te wyrażenia oznaczają przebitą oponę, gumę, lub też potocznie zwaną paną, tak zwaną panę, złapałem panę, tak się czasami mówi. All right, now if I could have the previous one, oh yes, you can have an accident, a car accident or a car crash. I hope not, but things can happen. You can also run out of petrol or gas. I told you in one of our previous lessons that in Great Britain, in British English generally, the fuel that the car uses is called petrol, benzyna, but in America it's called gasoline, or in short, gas. So petrol or gas is the same thing. Of course, some cars also run on natural gas, czyli na tak zwany gaz potocznie, LPG gas. What else can happen? If you are traveling by public transport, you can miss means of public transport. You can miss the plane, you can miss the flight, you can miss the bus, you can miss the train. To jest spóźnić się na pociąg, na lot, na samolot, na autobus i tak dalej, i tak dalej. So we don't say that I was late for the plane, we usually say I missed the plane, I missed the flight. Also, means of public transport can be delayed, so the train was delayed, the plane was delayed, czyli opóźniony, or a train or a plane can be cancelled, czyli odwołany. Sometimes when you're traveling by plane, your flight can be overbooked. What does it mean? Well, you know what booking means. Booking is making a reservation, buying a ticket and making a reservation. Sometimes the airlines book more tickets than they actually have seats on a plane. Why do they do this? It's a risky policy, risky thing to do. Well, they do this because they expect that some passengers will not show up. Some passengers will miss the flight. However, sometimes it happens that all the passengers actually arrive on time, and you have a situation when there is more passengers than you have seats on the plane. So we say that the flight is overbooked. And then, of course, the airline has to offer some passengers seat on another flight, usually some later flight. Plus they have to offer them some form of compensation. It's usually a voucher, a coupon, or just money. Yes, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Another problem, the luggage or baggage can go missing. Go missing, czyli zaginąć. Zauważcie, że w języku angielskim są dwa słowa na bagaż, luggage i baggage. Właściwie jest to samo, można używać tego wymiennie. Also, the passenger, I mean, you can lose your luggage, you can lose your ticket, you can lose your wallet, you can lose your passport, we can lose a lot of things, czyli po prostu zgubić. Sometimes, especially when you travel by train and not all the seats are booked or numbered, the train can be crowded or packed. It means zatłoczony. So it means that there are a lot of people, all the seats are taken, people are also standing in the alley or in the aisle or in the corridor. All right. Another type of problems, common problems that we can have while on holiday are problems connected with accommodations, czyli problemy związane z zakwaterowaniem. So what kind of problems can we encounter? Well, the booking was cancelled. So you have booked some accommodation, you have booked a room or a bed or a room. And then, for example, you didn't confirm your reservation. Confirm the reservation, confirm the booking, czyli potwierdzić rezerwację. And you arrive at your hotel and they tell you that your booking was or has been cancelled. Czyli rezerwacja została odwołana. It could be by mistake or it could be just because you didn't confirm the reservation. Sometimes the reservation was wrong, so there was some kind of mistake. I mean, the person who was making the booking online made a mistake, or maybe some employee of the hotel made a mistake, so reservation was wrong, there was a wrong date, and so on and so on. Also, sometimes a hotel can be overbooked. It happens. You know, hundreds or thousands of people check in, check out of the hotel. And although they have pretty good reservation systems, sometimes mistakes happen, or sometimes they have a bigger group reservation that is more profitable for them, and they will do it at the expense of some single guests, single travelers. And then, of course, if the hotel is overbooked, they will offer you a room at a different hotel, maybe plus some compensation. Another problem is a problem, or are problems which are connected with the room and the quality of the room and the conditions of the room in the room that you have booked. So you can complain about the room being tiny, czyli maleńki, or the room was damp. Damp means there was, you know, kind of wet inside, czyli był wilgotny, zawilgocony. You know, when you go on holidays, sometimes the hotel and the rooms were empty for the whole winter, and in springtime they can still be quite damp. If the room is damp for a long time, it can also get moldy. Mold, what is mold? Well, you can see it on the walls of rooms which are damp for a longer time, damp and cold, especially in the bathroom. Mold is usually black, I think. To jest pleśń, i moldy to jest właśnie taki zapleśniały z pleśnią na ścianach. Of course, the room can be simply dirty. You can also say that the room stunk. Stunk to jest jest to czas przeszły od czasownika stink, czyli śmierdzieć, czyli w pokoju śmierdziało, dokładnie pokój śmierdział, czyli w pokoju śmierdziało. Another way to say this is that there was a terrible smell in the room. Rooms which are damp and moldy and dirty, well, they usually stink and usually there is some terrible smell. Sometimes you book a room with a view of the sea, or view of the forest, or generally some nice view. And then you arrive at your hotel and it turns out that the windows of your room come out on the rubbish containers, czyli wychodzą po prostu na śmietniki. The air conditioning didn't work. A lot of people go on holidays in summertime to some warm countries, tropical countries, warm countries. So, because outside it's terribly hot, we expect to have air conditioning, czyli klimatyzację, in the room. And the worst case scenario is that the air conditioning doesn't work, czyli klima nie działa. Another quite common and disgusting problem is when the toilet is blocked or the bath is blocked. So, whatever is in the toilet, and the water in the toilet, the water in the bath, it does not go away, it stays there because it's blocked. Another category of problems connected with staying on holiday is crime. So there are also many types of crime that tourists can be victims of. So first of all, you can say that you were robbed. To be robbed, albo zostać obrabowanym, albo po prostu okradzionym. Tutaj przestrzegam Was, nie można użyć słówka steal, stolen, nie można powiedzieć I was stolen w znaczeniu byłem okradziony. I was stolen oznaczałoby po prostu, że zostałem ukradziony. Ludzi się raczej nie kradnie, więc powinno się w tym przypadku powiedzieć I was robbed. I was assaulted. Assaulted or attacked. Zostałem napadnięty. Assault to napaść. I was assaulted. Zostałem napadnięty. My passport, my wallet, my phone was stolen. As I said, when you're on holidays, a lot of things that you have with you, that you carry around can be stolen. Your luggage can be stolen. Documents, passport can be stolen. Credit cards, the whole wallet can be stolen. The mobile phone, the camera, bags, many different things can be stolen. Of course, many different things can be also lost. Yes, tourists also lose things by themselves. I was kidnapped. Of course, this is an extreme situation. However, unfortunately, there are some countries in the world which are not so safe to travel, not so safe for tourists as well as local people. So, in some countries, it happens that tourists are kidnapped. They are kidnapped for different reasons. Sometimes political reasons by terrorists, and sometimes they can be kidnapped for money. The money that the kidnappers demand is called the ransom. Ransom, czyli okup. So this also can happen in some places in the world. The next word is, the next thing that can happen to you is that you can be swindled or conned. If you look at the word swindled, there shouldn't be any question mark there, by the way. But when you look at the word swindle, it should remind you of a Polish word, szwindel. I think the Polish word comes from either from German or maybe from English. Anyway, it's similar. Szwindel to oszustwo, przekręt. I was swindled. To be swindled means zostać oszukanym. And to be conned means the same. Yes, I was conned, I was swindled. Sometimes, for example, you go to some country, somebody offers to exchange your money to the local or for the local currency, and they give you a very good deal. It seems like a good deal, and then it turns out that they gave you some forged money or some pieces of paper. So sometimes tourists get swindled, they get conned. Czyli zostać oszukanym. I was ripped off. Well, what does it mean to rip somebody off? To rip somebody off means that you sell something to somebody or you offer some service to somebody and then you demand or you charge much more money than you normally should. Okay, so a person pays much more than normally should be paid for this service or for these goods. Po polsku mówimy, że zdarli ze mnie pieniądze, czyli zapłaciłem zbyt dużo. You know, very often the tourists, especially if they don't know the language, they buy something abroad or they buy some services, and because they have some communication problem, they don't realize how much it actually costs. And then after they buy the thing or the service, they find out that they have to pay really a lot of money for that. So they say, I was ripped off, czyli zdarli ze mnie pieniądze. W sensie zapłaciłem zbyt dużo. Okay, another thing that can happen is that your identity can be stolen. What does it mean? It's a common type of crime nowadays. So somebody can either steal your ID, or they can just steal your personal data, like the name, the date of birth, the address, some PIN codes, things like that. And then knowing this data, your personal data, and pretending to be you, they can take a credit in your name, they can buy some things online, they can use the cash machine and withdraw some money. So it's a popular thing. You have to protect your documents, your personal data. My money was stolen from my account, czyli pieniądze zostały ukradzione z mojego konta. So this is, of course, as I have already said, the result of stolen identity. If somebody steals your identity and your personal data and your PIN numbers and things like that, they can actually log on to your account and then steal money from your account. Okay, account is misspelled there on the screen. It shouldn't be account, it should be account. Sorry for that. And then you can use that. Somebody use your credit card. All right, another type of problems that we may have while on holidays are health problems. So, of course, you can just get sick or fall ill. I got sick, I fell ill. Zachorowałem. These are actually the same, these expressions mean the same thing. I broke my leg, so you can break part of your body, you can break your hand, your leg, your arm, your finger. You can also be or you can get injured, czyli doznać urazu. When you go on holidays to some tropical countries, there are more poisonous and dangerous animals. So you can be stung, czyli ukąszony, by a bee. Well, this can happen in Poland. You can be stung by a wasp, czyli osa. You can be stung by a mosquito. You can be stung by a tick. What's a tick? Well, ticks are those little creatures which usually not always live in the forest, and they can sit on your body, and then they start getting into your skin and they start sucking your blood. And unfortunately, ticks, czyli kleszcze, ticks can infect you with a disease. In English, it's called Lyme disease. In the Polish language, it's called borrelioza. So it's a very dangerous thing to be stung by a tick. Well, you can be stung by any other insect, poisonous or not. You can also be bitten by a poisonous snake. Poisonous snake, czyli jadowity wąż. In Poland, you can be stung by an adder or adder. There is another name, I just forgot. Viper or adder. These two things mean żmija. You can be attacked by some bigger animals, a bear, a lion, a mountain lion. But also you can be attacked by a stray dog. Stray dog to jest bezpański pies. A quite common type of health problem is food poisoning. Especially if you go to some warm countries, because of the temperature, there's more bacteria, there are more viruses. You have to be more careful about the food that you eat. There are some diseases or bacteria that we don't have in Poland, so you're very let's say, vulnerable to them, so it's easy to get food poisoning, czyli zatrucie pokarmowe. Also, when you go to a hot country on holiday, as the very name suggests, it's hot in there. There's a lot of sunshine. The sun is much stronger, so you can suffer a heat stroke. Heat stroke, czyli udar cieplny, zwany po polsku często udarem słonecznym. You can also get sunburned. So if you just stay in the sun without protection for too long, your skin can get sunburned, czyli doznać poparzeń słonecznych. Of course, there are some other problems that it's hard to put in just one or two categories, so let's talk about them. You can get lost. I got lost. Zgubiłem się. I took the wrong train. You can always take the wrong train, yes. You can be bored to death. Of course, not literally. You know, sometimes you go on holidays and it turns out that it's in the middle of nowhere and there is nothing to do and no attractions, so you can just be bored to death. Yes. A common problem is the weather. The weather was horrible. You booked 2 weeks at the seaside and it turned out that it rained all the time, so the weather can be horrible. You can also run out of money. I ran out of money. Skończyły mi się pieniądze. I got off at the wrong stop. When you use public transport, a tram, a bus, an underground subway, very often you don't know the city very well. You don't know the network, the transport network. So sometimes you make this mistake by getting off at the wrong stop, czyli wysiąść na złym przystanku. The food was hopeless. So sometimes you buy package holiday and everything is already, you know, included, but then it turns out that the food you have been offered is just hopeless. Also, sometimes you can have problems with other holiday makers, so you can complain that the other holiday makers were noisy, that they behaved terribly. So, of course, there can be a lot of different problems with other holiday makers. Like with people, there are always problems. All right, so when you have some problems on holidays, there are also some solutions. So things that you can do to get out of this problem. So what can you do? Well, for example, when you have been the victim of a crime or you get lost, you can always call the police. In America, that's 911. You can call the emergency, czyli służby ratunkowe. So it's one, you know, phone number for all the emergency services. You can call the ambulance. You can contact the embassy. Embassy, czyli ambasada, yes, because you are in a foreign country, so your embassy of your own country should be able to help you. You can seek medical help, czyli zwrócić się o pomoc medyczną, czy szukać pomocy medycznej. You can ask somebody for help, some local people. You can, especially if you get lost, you can ask local people for directions, czyli prosić o wskazówki, zapytać o drogę. When you lose your credit card or you suspect that your credit card has been stolen, you can block the credit card. So you can, you know, phone some special line and block your credit card. If you are sick, you can take some pills. For example, painkillers, czyli środki przeciwbólowe. If you're going to a tropical country, you probably should get vaccinated, czyli zaszczepić się. Of course, nowadays, in the time of COVID-19, getting vaccinated also means getting a COVID vaccine. A lot of countries now require tourists either to take a test just before entering the country or having some kind of document, some proof that they have got vaccinated. You can also take some things with you to protect yourself, like suntan lotion, czyli płyn do opalania, insect repellent, środek na owady, mosquito net, czyli tak zwaną moskitierę, siatkę zabezpieczającą przeciwko owadom. Of course, there are many other things that you can do to get out of trouble while on holiday. All right, I think the time is up. Thank you very much. I hope you will not have any problems while on holiday, especially abroad. But if you do, if you should have any problems, I hope that these expressions that we have talked about today will help you get out of the problems. Thank you very much and goodbye.